know what you're thinking. Yeah, I know. I should probably be in the studio.
You know, while I'm doing that, one of the most interesting things that we see as we run across the country teaching this fantastic method is people continually say, I can't draw a straight line. I don't have the talent, Bob, to do what you're doing. That's baloney. Talent is a pursued interest. In other words, anything that you're willing to practice, you can do. And this is no exception.
Welcome back to the gallery. We're back in the studio, just working. I kind of cleared my whole schedule for the day so I could work on this painting. I'm committed to finishing it. This painting has been haunting me for close to a year now. And really it's gotten in the way of so many other projects that I think I just need to put my head down and just finish it. And I don't mean I'm trying to rush through it. I just need to work on it. You know what I mean? So lately I've just been thinking a lot about what my future looks like and what my artwork is gonna look like in the future. And it's all stopped by this one, there's a roadblock in my way, and it's myself. And this painting kind of feels like a metaphor for that. And the only way for me to really get out of my own way is to go through it. And so that's what this painting is. I'm just gonna work through it.
For this painting session, I kind of needed a little bit of I don't want to say assistance. I needed some company because, like I said, I've been working on this painting for almost a year. And when I was getting to the end of it, I just really needed someone to talk me through it and to take my mind off the task of finishing the painting. Because sometimes it's really good to be there and engrossed in the painting, but other times it's good to have something to take your mind off of it. And that's what I needed, because I felt like if I was just completely I felt like if I didn't have someone talking to me, I would spiral and I wouldn't finish the painting. So I got on FaceTime with the homie and we chopped it up for like 2 hours. And so I'm super grateful for that, because the painting probably would not be done to this day if I didn't talk to my friend.
I might have said this in an earlier video, but I feel like in my process of dedicating so much of myself to YouTube, I stopped dedicating the pieces of myself that I needed to making art, and I lost a bit, you know, like I think I lost touch with the reasonings for why I was making art, and I was getting caught up in being a YouTuber. And you know, YouTube is fire. Like, I love the fact that I get to talk to people and it shows people a side of me that they might have never seen, you know, and I think that's incredible. But at the same time, you know, it's a little distracting thinking about what my next video is going to be while I'm, you know, making a painting for an art show. But that's, you know, that's like the trade-off though, you know, like deciding to build a community is, you know, you have to like learn how to multitask. And I think I'm still learning. But in that learning process, you know, I let something that wasn't my main focus become my primary focus. But, you know, I feel like getting motivation to do stuff is, I don't know about you, but for me, I have to, it like builds, you know, it's momentum, you know, it's like I'm building mental momentum. Yeah, I've been building mental momentum. I think I'm finally ready. I mean, clearly, right? Because I'm not doing nothing else but this. Canceled all my appointments today because I really want to finish this. And I've been looking at a lot of my, maybe not peers, but they're painters who inspire me. And one guy, he's this Ethiopian painter, but I think he was like raised in Germany. And his name is like Tesfaye something. I'm blanking on his last name. I'll put it on the screen, but he's really dope. And he combines German expressionism with the iconography of Ethiopian Christian paintings. And he's built a beautiful world, a beautiful visual language, and he has easily become one of my favorite painters. And I feel like I'm super late to the party when it comes to him, but he's, you know what I'm saying, like, he's hard, super hard. And I've realized lately, it's like, yo, man, you can either talk about the work, which is what I was doing in my earlier YouTube videos, you know, it's just like making stuff just to make it, or you can do the work. And so I'm deciding to treat YouTube like a place where I document it, you know, because at some point, all the hard work is going to pay off, and it'll all make sense. And it'll be really cool to have a record of my journey. And so until then, I got to focus. But I can't let my secondary project become my primary project, if that makes sense. That has to make sense. I had this really beautiful moment the other day while I was working. You know, I was thinking about, I was working on this painting actually, and I was putting a color down, and I was like, yo, I'll come back to that later. The thing about painting is you can either do something in the moment and you can get it right in that moment, or you can come back to it and you might forget about it. That was something that I never really paid much attention to, but it made me realize, like, yeah, you can do something right the first time. You can double the amount of time you spend on something and do it multiple times. A part of my philosophy, or my new philosophy, is to just do stuff right the first time. Basically, lately I've been feeling like I haven't been as true to myself as I can be, and I've been trying to please some sort of algorithm that, like, doesn't make any sense to me or to most people. So why should I determine my self-worth based on a machine, you know? Like, don't get it twisted. I enjoy making YouTube videos and I enjoy talking to you guys, but lately I've been in a rut with the channel and just trying to figure out how to grow it. And in doing that, I stopped focusing on the art. Yeah, I would love for the channel to reach more people and for the art to be seen, but you know, if the channel stays like this forever, I'm cool, you know, because like the people that I have met off of YouTube have been phenomenal, and maybe that's all this is supposed to be for me, who knows. But I can't continue to feel like my art isn't worth anything because it's not being seen by a bunch of people, you know. It just might not be my time, and that's okay. So this is my second time filming this. Hi, welcome back to the gallery. I spent my entire day in the studio today, and it was really, sometimes it can get really lonely, and so it's not, I'm out on a date with my girlfriend, and so it's just nice to like be outside and remember that there's life outside of the studio, and that things have meaning. So yeah, hi. But basically this video, I'm gonna finish my painting, so this one might take a little longer, but that's what this is. Yeah, it's just nice to be outside and remember that there's life, because I can forget that. And sometimes it feels like I'm all alone, just like working on a dream, and it's cool to be in the streets with other people who also have dreams and they're trying to realize those things too. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the video.
what you're thinking. Yeah, I know. I should probably be in the studio. But the homie has an opening, so I'm taking a break from the painting. So I tried to do something different, or I guess a little more cinematic, but unfortunately my mic was broken, so you can't hear what I'm saying, which sucks because I like to think I was saying something sort of profound. But the gist of what I was talking about was I always forget what it's like going outside and being around people and how energizing that can be. Because a lot of my painting practice is being alone, and I forget that people are central to who I am as a person and how I get inspired. And, there's nothing like spending the night out in New York City and being reminded about your life's journey and hearing about other people's journeys.
6.5 hours later.
Another day back in the studio. I was hoping I would have this painting finished. I was hoping to have this painting finished by the end of the weekend, and it is now Monday. I guess I took the weekend off, which is cool. I know I've said this a few times already in the video, but I'm finding myself, I'm in a space where I feel like I'm rushing to finish this painting because I'm super excited to be able to, work on some of the other ones. And, in doing so, I just, I'm over it. I need to stay the course. So I was watching, I'm not sure, hopefully you do know. If you know who I am, I'm sure you know who Swan is and Little Yachty. But they did an exhibition in New York City during Fashion Week. It was a 1-day or 24-hour exhibition at a really cool gallery called The Hole. And I think it was called 24 Hours in Atlanta or something like that. But the point is, they do this show, and then they did an interview where, I haven't finished the interview. I think it's like a 20-minute interview, and I'm maybe like 10 minutes in. But in the interview, they're discussing what it means to be art and what tastemakers are and all of those things. And from what I have gathered, their opinion is that anything can be art, and whether it's good or not is another question. And I think I agree with that. Anything can be art. Everything is art, right? It's like, I think Salon says in the interview, it just depends on the eye of the creative and what they think they can do with the thing. And it's true. Everything that you see is art or can be used as inspiration for an even greater idea. And I think it's really important for people to think like that, because some people might feel like if they don't have inspiration, they can't do anything. But the inspiration's all around you. It's just about opening yourself up to, I guess, the universe. You could sit around being upset that someone is making something that you feel like you could do, or that you could do better. But the fact of the matter is you didn't do it, and someone else did, and now you're salty. And lately I've just been watching a ton of Virgil interviews, and his whole philosophy, or a piece of his philosophy, was just, just do it, and worry about it being finished later. And I think that can lead anyone, to have a breakthrough with their career or with their art. And I try to keep that in mind while I'm working, just get the idea out there and I can refine it later. And so that's something I've been trying to follow with this painting, because for a long time I felt like I need to make it be perfect. And in that quest for perfection, it's prevented me from finishing this painting. And so other people have made way more work while I'm stuck on one painting. And I'm a firm believer that it's not about making one masterpiece. It's about making a lot of work, and eventually you will make your masterpiece. And so if you're stuck on one painting or one song or whatever, you know, you might never get to that amazing work of art that you have inside of you. I think every living person has a masterpiece inside of them. I don't know what medium that it might appear in, but everyone has one. And I think you do yourself a disservice when you stop and, for lack of a better phrase, you allow perfection to sort of frighten you into not completing something, you know, because like you can always do better, but I think the real win is knowing that you can do better and like seeing it, you know, because there was a point in time when you might have not been able to see that you could improve on something. So I think that's just like a small win. But yeah, let me know down below what you think is art, and if you think anything can be art, or if there are like certain requirements that you feel like things need to have. So I listened to a little bit more of the interview with Slán and Yachty. And there's a point in the interview where, and it's relatively early on, but they talk about, are there any original ideas? I don't know. Yachty makes this point to say at some point, someone had to be the first to think of whatever. And Slán has this feeling that the world, or that we are just receivers, which sort of echoes a point made by Pharrell many years ago. And I think I might fall into that category of person as well, where I kind of think that we are just on the receiving end of whatever is coming through to us. And I think that's so cool to sort of treat ideas like signals being beamed into our brains, you know, because for me it helps me to stay grounded, and it helps me not get so possessive over ideas, because I'm sure you felt like someone has stolen an idea from you or something, and like truthfully, you know, the idea was never yours to begin with. It was never mine to begin with, you know. But I think that helps me to, like I said, to be less precious about my ideas, you know, and to also act. I can feel myself wanting to rush this part of the painting, because, you know, we're getting to the end. This is me telling myself in real time to enjoy where I'm at in the painting, because it took a long time to get to this point. The concept of, you know, living every day like your last, I feel like I struggle with that, because I think I agree, and it helps you not take things for granted. But at the same time, you know, I also believe in living in the moment and like being present. You know, I think now that I say it out loud, if you live your every day like your last, you are being present, because you're not thinking about tomorrow. And I think that might be one of my bigger issues as a person, or just like as a human, is I think about tomorrow a lot. finally did it. We did it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's a surreal feeling. We did it. We did it!
If you've been with the channel for a while, you know how long this thing has taken me. Some days I didn't think I would finish it. And even today, I found myself getting a little apprehensive to put the final pieces of paint on it, but we did it, and I'm so excited. I'm actually exhausted emotionally, and I feel like I need to take a nap. So I'm probably gonna go to the gym. But with that being said, I just want to say thank you to anyone who's hung around long enough to see me work on this and to see the ups and downs, and just seeing how long it took to actually do this painting. There's some things I can fix, but this is good enough for right now for me to move on to the next painting, which is actually this one. I'm super excited to work on this guy, or this woman, I should say. And I guess we'll start working on this in the next video. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today, yesterday, and tomorrow. If you take anything from this video or any video that I ever do, it's just like follow through, and you can decide whether it's good or not when you're done, and at that point you might just be ready to move on, so it won't matter whether it's good or not. So I'm just gonna try and take the lessons with me that I learned from this painting and apply them to this one. I will see you super soon. If you made it this far, please like, comment, subscribe, share it with somebody. But also, if you made it this far, write down below in the comments, follow through. I'm about to go to the gym, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Griselda. Hey, yo.